Nevels. Welcome to Running Ahrens.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is exciting. This is my first entree into solo interviewing.
Solo.
And so I was like, who would be a great one to start with? Kim, badass woman in my life that I want to talk to.
Well, I am honored, a fellow badass.
Badass girls need to stick together, don't we?
I got ready to say we do. We really do.
We really do. And I'm sure we'll get into what all that means to each of us as we progress this time. So I don't think you know this, and maybe this is a weird, not a weird thing to say, but you were my first Black friend.
Wow. So I didn't know that, but I am not surprised.
Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And along the way, we all stumble, learn, and keep going.
Welcome to Running Ahrens, a podcast about navigating marriage, parenting, business, faith, and all the unexpected detours that come along with it.
We're Justin and Sarah Ahrens, partners in life, business, and raising 4 incredible kids.
For over 30 years, we've been figuring things out as we go. Sometimes successfully, and sometimes, well, not so much.
But that's the beauty of hindsight. We're here to share the lessons we've learned, the wins, the failures, and the moments that have shaped us.
Through honest conversations, special guests, and maybe even a few stories from our kids, we'll explore what it really takes to grow, adapt, and move forward.
So whether you're running a business, a household, or just running late,
you're in the right place. Let's do this together.
We're glad you're here. Welcome to Running Ahrens.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't say that with like I had some intention of, finding one, but so we met in 1992 at Illinois Wesleyan University.
Illinois Wesleyan, it was your freshman year.
Yeah,
Yes.
my freshman year. And I grew up in a very, very small town, Elburn, not diverse. I think there were 2 Black people in my whole high school, like through my career. Or it was a rural community. And I went to Wesleyan, and you might giggle at this, but Wesleyan seemed diverse to me.
I am laughing, but also...
So that to frame up our our origin differing stories.
Why I am not surprised is because my freshman year roommate, that was a very similar story. She also grew up in a rural community farm, had a ton of siblings. I was the first Black person she had ever met, let alone had to live with.
Oh, mine was at meeting because I had some, just through athletics, I had met some, like as far as like spending time with day in, day out, getting to know and.
But a friend, sure.
Yeah. Exactly. So we again met that year as I was a very wide-eyed, almost like deer in the headlights. Because I also went to a very small high school, so Wesleyan seemed big to me.
Wow.
My graduating class in high school was 174.
Small.
So Wesleyan was a big step for. Like saying this now makes me giggle. I was such a child. But
but we were babies who thought we were grown.
And doesn't that give you a new lens with your children where they are now?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
we thought we were so adult.
I really thought I had it all together. I really did. Oh my gosh. So we met there, and I really loved my experience at Wesleyan because it was such a jump for me. And I'm just curious as Wesleyan, like I want to hear like your like where you grew up, how you grew up, and kind of what led you to get to Wesleyan.
Sure.
Where we started. Because where we started, I want to know how we got there.
So I grew up in Champaign, Illinois. That's where I went to high school. But before that, we were in St. Louis, in the suburbs of St. Louis.
I guess I
and so right before 8th grade, what a pivotal time in a person's life, we moved from St. Louis to Champaign. And I went to high school in Champaign. And so how I found Illinois Wesleyan My mom, so now all of this, my mom was also the high school counselor in my high school
In Champaign?
in Champaign. So moved to Champaign, and then my mother also is works in the high school that I attend.
Oh,
So
wow.
so mom so she did all of the college counseling, all of that, and then Ann Dahl, who she was a senior
Oh, okay,
my
yeah, I'm like,
freshman
who's
year.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she was at Illinois Wesleyan while I was a high school student. And my best friend in high school, her brother, also went to Illinois Wesleyan.
Okay.
And so then when it came time to apply for college, obviously I applied WashU in St. Louis, Northwestern in Chicago, Illinois Wesleyan, right down the street. And I have severe asthma
Mhm.
and ended up making a very calculated decision that I should be closer to my mom and dad in
Okay.
case I needed to get home quickly, because it was only 45 minutes away. So I had a little scholarship and with Ann Dahl being there, Tom Hettinger, and then my high school best friend, she also went, and so that is how I ended up at Illinois Wesleyan.
Oh, wow, I guess I didn't realize that that was one of your deciding factors, but that makes sense. Now, listening it through my mother's ears, I totally, like, understand that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got really scared. I was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital my senior year. I almost missed my high school graduation for being in the hospital. Like, I was about to miss, like, rehearsal, and they were like, "You can't walk if you don't make
If you have an illness, you're gonna be punished.
rehearsal." And I literally was like, I'm like, I demanded. I was like, "I'm out." I missed my high school graduation party for being in the hospital, like, it was a whole thing. Yeah,
Oh.
I was just like, "Oh god." So, yeah, I was just like, "Oh, no, I need to be close to I need to be within driving distance of home."
Yeah. So, with your mom
Yeah,
being in high school with you and, like, how was that? How did that
it was fine. There was one time I got in trouble, though, not because I got caught, but because a person who I was out with got caught for something else,
guilt
and
by
her
association, one of those things your parents are like, "Be careful who you hang with." Guilt by association.
it was so wild. So, I mean, like, I ran track in high school, and the whole track team had gone out to this party it's a small town. Party gets busted, and off we go, because everybody knew. I was like, "Kim can't get caught." Like, everybody knew, if I get caught, we are all caught. We are all in trouble. We are all going down. So, like, that was the whole thing. "Nope, we're out. Off we go."
Yeah.
So then one of the girls on the track team got in trouble for something else. And then her mother was like, "Well, if you think this is bad, she was out with Kim Page." That's my maiden name. "She was out with Kim Page on Saturday at a party, blah, 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 blah."
So it's like she almost, like, threw you under the bus to, like, take the story away from her daughter?
Sure did.
Ah,
Sure did.
girl, that's terrible.
It wasn't that awful. So, of course, so that was about the only time, though, where, like, I was just like you said, by association, it was honestly probably, for me, the first kind of lesson, though, where it was like, "Oh, when chips are go down, folks are easy. They will very quickly throw you up under that bus."
Yeah. Sadly, it's true. I I I hope I'm not that person, but I've never been in this situation. I mean, I really hope I wouldn't, but we'll see what I hope. I don't ever want to be pushed to that point. Let's just hope I avoid it and don't have any
I
circumstances I need
mean,
to make a choice.
and looking back at it now, like, look, I'm so happy that happened, like, in a low stakes situation.
Exactly.
I mean, like, yeah, I got in trouble. Yeah. But I honestly, my parents were very strict. So a lot of times, like, for me, like, the calculation was like, is the fun worth the trouble?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you because I grew up in a small community, one of 6 kids,
Yes.
and we were known. And so there was like, "Oh, Brewbakers don't do that," or "Brewbakers do this." And, I also had siblings that I saw what they did and got caught with, so I was like, "Ooh, here's my lane. Here's the safe lane. Stay right here." And it did work out for me. It did work out for me, but I thankfully didn't get in a lot of trouble because I didn't get caught. It doesn't mean I wasn't having, and it was really benign trouble in the grand scheme of things.
And that's exactly it. In the grand scheme of things, it was not big trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
but yes, when you very similarly, because my mom was at the high school and my dad owned a business. And so in the small townness of Champaign,
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Oh, and thanks, sweet baby Jesus, there was no social media or phone.
oh my gosh, I feel so bad for these kids. I mean, there is just no evidence of,
No. Oh my gosh. No. I mean, no. Like, I don't, yeah. And they record everything with no thought that this is gonna show up somewhere.
that in a lot of ways, the internet is forever. In a way, it was not.
Right. I mean, I remember like this is like frames it up. Like I tell my kids that Wesleyan, I had to take intro to Word because I had never used a computer.
We were like literally well, we didn't, and this, kids have no idea. We didn't have laptops.
No, and we didn't have an email. Did we have email? I don't remember having a Wesleyan
We
email.
we were cuspy.
Yeah, like
We are like kids who use landlines and were the first folks who, like, I mean, my first cell phone was a bag phone
I
where,
had one where you plugged it into the lighter in your car.
yes, and you could only use it was only for a dire emergency. Like,
And the only reason I got it is because Justin and I were dating and we lived 45 minutes apart. He lived in
yes,
Plainfield, I lived in Elburn, and we would, go back and forth. And one night I was driving home really late, got a flat tire, and I pulled over and I was like, I started flagging people down. Like, because I didn't know what to do. I was on Route 47 in the middle of the night. And thank goodness the man who pulled over was another small town near him, is Caneville fireman. And he was like, get in your car. I will change your tire. And then you go home. I mean, I was in like Sugar Grove. I wasn't in any place scary or it was night. And
no,
I told my parents that, and the next day a bag phone showed up in our house and they're like, this travels with you. And I was like, okay. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this thing?
that is exactly it. Yes, I had I had something similar on that 45-minute drive from Bloomington to Champaign.
Yeah, craziness, craziness. So we met during Rush. And if I
You're right.
laugh at like our Rush experience versus like, have you watched like any like Alabama Rush or any of those, whatever those shows are that are like the Southern universities?
How benign.
And I literally was clueless about sorority. I was like, oh, this is what we're doing this weekend? Okay, this sounds great.
So my rush story is I get to Illinois Wesleyan. I literally am like, I think I have made a mistake.
Oh, really?
I was like, I am not sure I like can do this. And I am bawling and I want to go home. And my mom is like, oh, you have made a decision. This is like your first adult decision. And no, you don't get to come home. And I'm not going to see you until like the October break, whatever. Like, I think it was like Columbus Day, like whatever that first like legit break. You don't get to come home. I am walking and I see Ann Doll, who was one of the rush counselors. Like, you know
Mhm.
how and
Yes.
it's like, she sees me, I'm, like, so happy to see a friendly face, and she is like, "Kim, why don't you just you'll meet people, go through rush," and I met Kathy Wesley,
Aw,
first day.
lifer, still friends with
Yes.
her to this day.
My best friend, and I literally was like, "Okay," and we were like, "Okay, well, we're gonna do this, and we'll do this together."
Yeah. I
And
was
so that's how
a
that honestly, that is how that worked, because I saw Andal, I was miserable and wanted to, like, literally was like, "I think I've made a mistake, I wanna go home, I wanna get out of here, I need to transfer, like, immediately," and went through Rush and met my best friends. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, Rush was very interesting. I mean, I don't even know where I can't even, like I don't even think I was so freaking naive, like, so unexperienced in the world. I was literally like, "Oh, people are choosing whether I should come live with them or not," you know? When you think about it, it was like I feel like now it's like Hunger Games, but back then, in our small school, I felt like it was less Mean Girl, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it was, and I
That
was a
is exactly it. I didn't have any, like, concept of, like, because an Illinois Wesleyan is small.
tiny. There's
So
only
yeah,
5 houses? 6, 5?
right. Was it 5? I mean, 5?
Yeah, KDs, SKs, KKGs, Alpha Gams, and AO Pi. Anybody else?
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
think that's it.
That was it. So it was honestly more of, "Oh, this is a social thing."
Uh-huh.
For me, it's a community. And, maybe like, it was to me, I think of it I look at it now and I was like, "Ew," it was not what you see on TV for me. It was like, "Okay, this is a built-in a community that is gonna help me get through
Mhm.
this, whatever this 4 years is gonna be."
I also was like, it's a nicer place to live than the dorm.
Oh, I was such a spoiled child. I was such a spoiled child because do you know that's why I chose Kappa?
Me too.
Because of the house.
I did like some
'Cause
people,
there
like, Kelly Renzelman, she was pretty badass by what she made a
Oh,
choice,
yeah.
but I was living in Munsell, and I was like, no, no, cannot do this much longer."
Oh, I was like, "You all have there's you all have the same number of washer and dryers for the limited number of girls in the house as we have in the dorms."
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, oh, oh, wait, there are fewer women in the bathroom to share a bathroom with." I honestly my whole piece was such a, like, I am a spoiled brat.
No, I
A
agree.
communal living thing is not for me, and I was so I was at the house so much, they laughed at me.
It was a nice place to be. It was a nice place to be, for
Yeah.
sure. So, going to Wesleyan for you, what was your experience at Wesleyan culturally, socially? Like, how did that look, and how did you experience that?
So, my freshman year is very different from the rest because I wasn't allowed to have a car my
Well,
freshman year. And so, freshman year, I was on campus, I was doing the thing that freshmen do, which is, going to school and getting to know people and everything. But, uh, there were 9 Black people in the freshman class.
super diverse, right? Like, my view is that, "Wow," and you're like, "What?"
I honestly was just like, "Oh." But because Illinois State was right down the street, like, I think for me, I had an Illinois Wesleyan experience and an Illinois State experience because I was back and forth because that's where most of my Black friends were at Illinois State.
Yeah.
So and then I had a boyfriend who was in Champaign. So, I mean, like, I was all over Central Illinois. So, I think for me, what is interesting and probably what is a little bit different from some of the other kids is that I had a life way outside of Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah.
Like, I had my Illinois Wesleyan people, and then I had my U of I boyfriend, I had my Illinois State friends, and you know how I think I was so for the but freshman year was probably the most time I spent at Illinois Wesleyan.
Yeah.
And I think though for me, I think about that time and I'm like, oh gosh, like we don't appreciate
I know.
that it's like that bridge to adulthood that you can practice. And we think it's so hard to like, oh my gosh, I would give anything to go back to school and like not have to worry about it. Like,
Oh, well, that's
you
kind
know,
of a
so I
question I've
think
always wanted to ask the girls that I was with, and, like, when I got engaged at 19, and then y'all found out I was getting married that summer, like, I'm curious, what did you all think? If you even remember. Like, I don't wanna, like, be, like, so, like, what were they talking about me? But I'm just curious because I look back and I'm like, "What the actual F?"
what I think is so funny is that like and I think this is where also having grown up in a small town and then Illinois Wesleyan, right? That that wasn't all that unusual.
Yeah, maybe not.
You know, I think it was unusual probably for Illinois Wesleyan, but in the totality of like small townness, I think what is interesting is that y'all are still together. That's the difference.
Okay, so life after college, because you didn't have the connectivity. So what happened? Like, so you graduated, and
So
what did that look like?
I graduate from Illinois Wesleyan and I go straight to law school and I go back to Champaign because this is what my parents have said to me. We have done our job. We have paid for you to get an undergrad degree. And so law school is on you. Also, because they know me, they were like, we're not sure that you should mortgage your future. Because I really wanted to go to DC. Because Kat and Sarah, all of them, they were all going to DC. And so I was headed to Georgetown.
Oh,
And
wow.
they were like, yeah, we are not sure you should buy a house to get a law school degree. Because I think I would have ended up, yeah, it was going to be like $150,000 of debt.
Yeah,
And they were like, that's a house, kid.
yeah.
And we're like, that's going to change your life choices. I ended up back home in Champaign at U of I Law, had a tuition and fee waiver. And so,
Really?
yeah. So I only had to borrow living expenses. And that's, I mean, like when I tell you what a life changing thing, not, but again, because you're young and dumb, I had no idea.
Yeah, now with this, like, with the privilege of hindsight, you're like, "Thank you, mom and dad."
So I go to law school. Oh my gosh. Again, who knew? So my first year of law school, because law school was hell, hated it. And so allegedly I was living at home my first year to save money. I saved not a lick of money because I spent all my money getting out of the house. But that first year is when I had so January of my first year of law school, I have an asthma attack. My parents were in Kansas City, Missouri for my grandfather's retirement party. I always blame it on lack of air for me. I call them because I've been running around all day. I call them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm having an asthma attack. I can't even drive myself to the ER. So again, call the dolls who pick me up, take me to the hospital, and I am out. I ended up being intubated. Parents get called to come home. I almost died. I always think about it. I'm like I might not be here if I hadn't made a decision to be home.
By accident. That's I am not a believer in accident.
I had just turned 23. And so you have that kind of health event changed my whole life. Yeah.
Well, I'm
So,
glad you made the call to stay home. I'm
yeah.
glad you did that.
So I go to law school and then um I met my husband. So he is older, but he started a year after I did. So second year of law school, I meet Malik, who ends up being my life partner. Yeah. And he's a native Chicagoan.
Okay.
And so we get married so I graduate from law school in 98. We get married December of 98. He graduates in May of 99, and he's a native Chicagoan and moved to Chicago. And there we go.
And there you go. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize you met Malik in law school. I mean, maybe that
Mhm.
totally makes sense for that trajectory. So,
Yeah.
career-wise, what did that look like for you?
Interestingly enough, so I graduate from law school, but because of my health event, I made a very calculated decision that life is too short to be miserable. I did not like law school. I did not like the people I went to law school with. I was like, I don't want to spend my life with these people.
Yeah.
I did an alternate path through the career, through alternate path through the law. I've had all these jobs that have been like legal adjacent, but
Yeah.
where I haven't had to work in law departments. So my first real job was at State Farm because Melanie Hilliard, who was in my class, her dad was an executive at State Farm. And I had done an internship. And, yeah, my first job was as a claims adjuster at State
Really?
Farm. So, yeah, I did that for a year. And then I got my first job in the city, and went downtown, and it was the worst job. I was doing compliance for a for-profit educational company, and that's when I learned all money ain't good money, and it was the first time I was like, "This is something that does not align with my values, and I gotta get out."
Isn't
I
that
work I
interesting? My first job, not well, I had a lot of really crappy job, but I learned early on that, like, there's a lot of very unsavory people and unsavory businesses, and that was very eye-opening for me. Maybe I'm so gratefully I was naive that I didn't grow up cynical or nervous or scared or a skeptic, but goodness gracious, I learned the hard way
I
that
had
some things are really ugly in this world.
Well, and then my dad being a business person, and then having a mom who's an educator. And so then to walk into this for profit educational company, I was one of the first Black professionals they had hired. So they were used to having secretaries, not. My desk was in a hall. So I had 2 weeks after I started looking for another job.
And that is so, like, soul-sucking.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it was so interesting. And I think about it and I'm like, wow, like you said, the timing of it all. And so that was how I saw a job posting for an equal opportunity specialist at Housing and Urban Development. And my granddad had been a federal employee, and I put in an application. And this is how young and dumb I had, outside of knowing that my grandfather had been a federal employee, they get a call and they're like, "Hey, we're going to offer you this job." I'm like, "Huh?" I was like, you're not calling me for an interview?"
They just
Uh,
offered you the job based on
yeah,
your resume?
I just got a job offer based on my resume. And then they tell me the salary, and I was like, "I can't," because it was the exact same money as what I was making.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, how I'm like, I don't know a lot, but my husband was like, "No, you need to leave for something more." So I had said no. They called me back. And I mean, I think about it now and it was like, I think the job offer was like for $42,000. That was like, "Can you come?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm coming." And I took the job at the federal government with the thought that because I had not held anything longer for a year since graduating from law school, I mean, like, I had been hopping and I was like, okay, I'm going to be there for 3 years and then I'll find something else to do. And
Really happened.
I stayed in that office, the Office of Fair Housing, for 21 years.
And I don't know how you encapsulate 21 years, but how was that?
Well, I think about it and I'm always like, well, that's where I grew up.
Yeah. Well, so what, just for framing of the years, it was what, 2002,
So
1?
I started December of 2000.
Okay.
So I stayed in the Office of Fair Housing for 21 years. I stayed at HUD before. But yeah, so Office of Fair Housing. I started as a baby investigator, as a baby lawyer. I learned how to be a professional. So Kathy, I always laugh. She pulled my coattails when we were young. And I was talking about how stupid everybody was. And she was like, Kim, in these jobs, the natural through line of that is you. Everybody can't be that stupid.
Oh my gosh, that's so Kathy.
Oh, yeah, she pulled my coattails. I was like, "That's what best friends are for." And she was like, "These are entry-level jobs. It's what they are."
Yeah.
And you know how you kinda stop and go,
So maybe the problem is me?
"Maybe the problem is."
I'm the commonality? Like, oh my gosh.
So it's where I honestly, like, that's where I learned how, to be a professional, how to navigate these workspaces. But and I'm always so honest, I'm so grateful and so privileged. I got to do good work.
Yes, you did.
So in learning all of that, and learning how to operate and navigate, I got to I started as a baby investigator. I got my first management position. I had my babies, and not really at the time knowing what a privilege it was to have a good boss. So I could do both. Then becoming like the deputy director of the office, and then that's its own learning. Yeah, its own figuring out how to be a leader, because leading is different from managing,
For certain.
right? How to navigate the politics of all of I talk to young women, and the first time I applied for the deputy director job, I did not get it.
Okay.
And being told that it was because I had young babies and they didn't think I had.
Seriously? They actually said that out loud?
So they didn't say that's why, but then I was told that was why.
So they
Yeah.
didn't think you were capable of doing all that was required of you because you had young babies. You might have to go home because your kids are sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oy
Yeah.
vey.
And then to tell young women that now, and they're like, that's discrimination. I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, what did you do? And I was like, well, you make the calculation. I was like, I'm not moving. This is like the job that I have and the career that I have, and I like it. And knowing if I file that complaint, that's the end.
Oh,
And you never know, because the guy who got the job ended up being gone even more than I was, because his girlfriend was in a whole other state.
but it seems to work out, not a big deal. Not a big deal for them.
And so he took a job. He left that job, took a job to be closer to his girlfriend. And then I applied for it a second time around and got it that time.
And you got it that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, what year would that have been? Like, do you remember?
That was, oh, was that 2013, I think?
Okay. Because I think, well, going just like when we reconnected again, it was via Facebook,
Yes.
which must have been, I think I joined 08, 09, and I don't remember when.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing, like, you would post about your job, not specifics, but I knew what you were doing, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, she's such a grown up." Like, it felt like you had this, like, and it was just it seemed to me so important of a job, like, so much, like, it had a effect, like, it had a ripple effect. You were making effect in this world that I was very enamored by, and like, "Oh my gosh, she's so much of an adult." Like, so much of an adult. And, isn't
So
it strange?
I think it's so interesting that it's like these jobs that you didn't know were out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I just happened to like land there. And then it hit for me all like it hit all the nerdy things. Like I was like, oh, this ties into like history and then public service. And then I am insanely curious and nosy. I get to investigate. And I get to do all this thing. And then because Chicago's the hub, I was like, oh, there was travel involved. And then like I got to go to DC. And I mean, looking back at it now, I don't think when I was in it, I realized I didn't know that outside people were looking at it like it was cool. Because
And
I
to
was
me,
like,
it seemed like, of course, this is where Kim would work. Like you're saying it just happened by happenstance. The story that I made up in my brain was like, she saw it. She knew this is where she would be effective and awesome. And she went after it. Like that is how, like, I'm not saying like, it was like inspiring to me. Like that is so awesome. Like that she is.
but I mean, I think about it when I think about the timing of when December of 2000 is when I started. Right?
Mhm.
And I think about, I was like, oh, that's because for lawyers and stuff, they were running off to large law firms and making big money and stuff like that. So there was this moment of time when that was like working for the government, was not a cool thing to do. So
I just didn't grow up in a world where there was a lot of examples of female in the workforce. My mom didn't work, and I don't say this with shame or judgment. It just wasn't the same thing. Most of my friends' moms, if they worked, it was like administrative assistant. There was no like corporate leader women that I saw in my future. So I never even dreamed of myself to go there because I never saw it. And it wasn't because I didn't think I was capable. I just didn't even think it was an option.
Sarah, but the time of when we grew up, right? So my mom worked, my aunts, everybody was a teacher. They were in education, or they were nurses.
I was gonna say, or they were a nurse. Yeah.
Right. Or like you said, I mean, like there were a couple of exceptions of my mom's friends, but because they were like highly educated, but that's growing up in a college town.
That's true. You
So
did
they
it in academia.
were
Yep, yep, yep.
right? So, I mean, but to have like, for me to be a lawyer, I only knew one lawyer, one female lawyer who was a cousin who lived in New York. I got to do something, but I had no idea.
It's probably all the better
Uh,
that you didn't.
I
You know
didn't
what I
have any
mean? Like
example.
knowing, yeah, it's just so like it's not been that long since, and now I see the dreams and ideas that my daughters get to have. And I tell my youngest specifically because she is a go-getter. She's super into like very well read, knows what's going on in the world, has strong opinions and educated ones. She's like, this is what I want to do. And it's so funny. I wake up to New York Times articles sent to me every morning and it almost makes me tearful with joy of like, I am so glad that you are dreaming these kind of dreams and like I can make a difference. And not that I was like, oh, woe is me. I just was like it didn't even go in my brain to think like I could go out there and make big decisions and affect the world. I don't know.
This is why I put things in context, right? Like I talk about this stuff. 74. That's when women could sign it and get their own credit cards for the first time.
That means
That
that's
is
my
when they put
lifetime. That's the year I was born. So like that's like the
This is why I put it in context, right? Because I like this is 1974. That is when you were allowed to get your own credit card, to get your own mortgage, to sign out your own lease without needing a co-signer. So looking at your daughter, I'm like, in the long spread of time, that's such a little time to have
agreed.
changed so much.
Agreed. And I just I just wanted to, I've told you this, like you are just very inspiring to me. Like what you have done, what you do in the world, how you speak about the world, and how you show up consistently is just such a shining light for me. Just, I want you to know that. I want you to hear it. And I'm so like, for me, like the joys of social media, because we like have seen each other in person 3 times, maybe over the last 20, 30 years, like really. But I've been able to be exposed, like you exposed me to so much that I would not have. Like during like COVID and when everything was happening, you were posting about books and stuff that I was like, Okay, I'll read that. And you and I and Justin had we did a happy hour,
Yeah.
and I just got to hear about things and see the things through a lens that I just don't have. And it's not, again, not your job to educate me, but I was just so appreciative that I was exposed to start my own exploration. So you've just been so vital to my trajectory.
Well, thank you. Thank you. But I mean, and it's all the same, right? Because I think that that is what is so interesting. And that's why, I mean, like social media and all of its ills, but it's so like the connections.
Yes.
And I was like, and that's exactly it. We were able to reconnect because of social media. And then I have to say the same thing because I was like, okay, look, it's Sarah. She and Justin have their own business and they've got 4 kids and like here they are. Like, and I was like, okay, I can do this.
It's like we created sisterhood without talking about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because your youngest is just a year older than my oldest. I was the older mom.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, am I going to have to give up?
Yeah.
Going to have to give up this life that I've worked so hard for? And it was like, nope, I don't have to. And I'm like, and I always laugh. I was like, yeah, we're just going to make different mistakes.
Yeah.
Our
Exactly.
poor kids.
When you think about it, when you like look at like the surrounding of the women, like just take like some of our friends from Wesleyan, like where our commonality, there are a lot of badass, strong, powerful women who are also mothers, wives, sisters, and that I think I'm just so appreciative that I can view it and experience it. I mean, so this is like the joy of social media to me. There's a lot of, like you said, the ills.
Yeah.
But these are the things that now my daughters and my sons, I want my sons to see this as well. This is not purely, I just find like hope in it. There's a hopefulness.
These kids are, yeah. And I do. I think it's so great to see them. And because their dreams are different.
Mm.
And the way they go into the world is really different. And like looking at your youngest and all the stuff that she's been exposed to as a young person to even dream that big, I'm just always like, oh, that's good for you.
Yeah. So that's a good transition. So your daughter's getting close to going to college.
We are in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you feeling about this? How is this experience for you?
So this is so exciting, but it's also so like, wow, here we are. I've been a person though and because all of my friends had kids before I did, that I think it's just always exciting. All the milestones.
That's
So
I did too. I'd say I was never one to like wish back times in the past.
me either.
I enjoyed them. Like some of them I didn't. But
I know, but I mean, but yeah, but for the most part, yeah.
do you think is she going to go far away? Is she staying close to home, or do you not? Are we still?
We're throwing all these applications out
Oh, I
there.
know.
She really liked Illinois Wesleyan.
Oh, I mean, let's just be honest. That campus is pretty freaking amazing now.
I didn't make homecoming because that was Kamala Harris's tour stop for her book in Chicago.
And you were like,
Was that
I'm
same
gonna be
day?
there.
I was like, guess where I will be?
Yes. Heck yeah. Good choice.
Chicago and
Great
not
choice.
in Bloomington Normal. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah.
So then on Monday, I took her to Illinois Wesleyan for her college visit.
I think
She
I
had the
saw you
best
post
visit.
about that. Yeah. Yeah.
The teacher was like the small group, all of it. And I was like, it's so funny because like all the reasons why I went it's still the same thing. I was like, what a great
Yeah.
in the middle of the country.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so we'll see. Like, I mean, I was like, let's put out these applications and,
Yeah.
take these tests and do the thing. It's just very interesting to be looking at it from my side as the parent
Yeah.
than the 18-year-old.
And
Yeah.
also, like, such a different way of which I looked at college. Just for me, it was like, I just was like, I don't know where to, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. And I'll look at these. And I mean, I think Ava, I think she applied to like 25 schools.
And this is why I'm like, just shoot your shot. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
But this is the college counselor kid in me, though, who's like, and you end up where you're supposed to be.
Very much so. Very much so. I would yes. But I wanna make sure I come back. I didn't cover this poor interviewing. So you were at HUD, and where are you now? And
So
how
yeah.
did that happen?
Okay. So we all survived a pandemic. I went home for 2 years. So I survived the first Trump administration. I had been in line to move from the deputy position to the director position, regional director. And that was not happening in the Trump administration. My boss retired and I did not get that job. And then, but then with the pandemic, I was like, you know what? I was not meant to have that job. I was not meant to be responsible for 6 states of people and to survive a pandemic. And then I went, so then the end of 2021, 2022, it became clear that like, okay, we can go back to the office. And I had decided I was not going back to work in person with my, still at that point newish boss. And so started looking for another job. But what the pandemic brought was that like you didn't have to live in DC.
Yeah.
So I went from deputy director of the Chicago office to being director of equity nationally. So I was a DC employee, but I got to live and work out of Chicago.
And what department was that under?
So that office was Office of Field Policy and Management. It was like the front door to HUD across the country. They had offices in all 50 states and in multiple cities. Yeah, so I was director of equity for that field office, for that program office. And then because of that job, I got a call to see if it was a call where I was like, am I being told or voluntold? Like, is this like,
Voluntold, what a great word.
yeah, I was like, am I being asked or am I being, to be the chief diversity officer on an acting basis? And so I said yes. And I got in there on an acting basis and I was like,
Now, on an just for those of us that might not, what does acting basis mean?
oh, an interim.
Okay.
So you don't have the job, but you're in
But
there
you have
on
to act like you
interim.
do.
Right. And that's what happened. I got into it on an acting basis and I was like, woo, I will apply for this but I, again, don't want to move to DC. I can do it from Chicago and fly in and out. And that's how I ended up as a chief diversity officer of housing and urban development for a little over a year. And then November of 2024, the world changed again. And I knew that that job was no longer going to be viable. And so I drafted a great legal memo and proposed that we sunset the office, that me and
Really?
my
You were proactive about that?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I knew what was coming.
Wow, I
So,
didn't realize that.
oh yeah. I mean, I Project 2025 from executive orders from the first time around. I knew what was coming. So we sunset the office, me and my team, we were all in new positions. And then January 22nd of 2025, we were all put on paid admin leave. And so I knew, like, it became clear that there was not going to be a path of return for me. And so I'm so grateful. I was able to take early retirement.
Good for
But
you.
let's be clear that early because I wanted to make sure I kept the health insurance.
Yes.
So I kept health insurance for me and my family. And now I am at the Chicago Housing Authority, back in fair housing, deputy chief of fair housing and policy, and got to stay in public service. Yeah, it's in the city. And so again, it's really interesting because it's now very similar to the work I did, but even in closer proximity to the people who were paid to serve. Yeah.
That is so awesome. You and I probably could have a whole other episode talking about, like, thoughts of the dystopian world of which we exist in right now.
That's a different episode.
That's a different episode. I just thank you so much for doing what you do. I'm so glad you're in this world and doing the work you do. I'm just really proud of you. And not like you need my pride, but I'm just proud to know you, I'm so grateful to see your life, even from afar, that you are one of the people that give me hope. And like, there is goodness in the world. There are people that care, that are making a difference, and we don't need to sit in the mire all the time. Like you're one of those beacons of light of just like, yes, badass woman doing great things.
So I think, well, and same, but I think here is what, like, as a person who loves history, right?
Mhm.
We don't get to have the luxury of sitting back and going, woe is us.
No.
People did so much more with less.
Yeah,
And it's just our time.
I know.
So,
Make some good
and
trouble. Let's make some good trouble.
yeah, I mean, I think like not like we can acknowledge how awful this is.
Well, we kind of have to for the sanity of it all.
But I think that this is where it becomes really important to acknowledge and recognize who you are in community with,
Mhm.
and to be intentional of maintaining that community, and that, yeah, it's just our time. And so we don't have the luxury of sitting back and going, oh, woe is us. Pick your fight, pick
Yep.
your lane,
Yep.
and go for it.
And that, just echoing back to like the younger generation now, I feel like there's a lot of potential there in that college group. That is the fact that Ava, my daughter, has like during the election had watch parties for all of the debates, and like they're talking about it. And not that I want to say either side, but that they're actually having the conversations and like not even dipping their toe, they're jumping in. And I certainly wasn't. I was not that aware, involved, cared when I was 18, 19, 20 years old.
And that's what I think is great, because they are going to imagine better.
I don't want to take up any more of your time on a Sunday when you have so much, I'm sure, to do, or some things to not do and sit on a couch. But
I'm going to drink some more coffee and read a book.
so thank you so much, my friend. I love chatting with you and hearing your story.
Well, you enjoy. This was fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Running Ahrens. We truly love having these conversations and sharing them with all of you.
If something resonated with you today, we'd be so grateful if you'd rate and review the show. It helps more people find us.
And if you know someone who'd connect with this episode, send it their way. You never know who might just need to hear it.
We'd also love to hear from you, your feedback, your stories, or even topics you'd like us to tackle next.
You can connect with us on our personal socials, the show's Facebook page, or through the website, runningahrens.today. And links are always in the show notes.
Until next time, keep showing up, stay kind, and remember,
life's the long run, and the best way forward is together.